No, it's cool to have you here over now. I mean, it took, we met us first time, in Torino.
Yeah, last October.
At the beer, what was it? It was...
the Salone d'Augusto. But we met at Teo's place, Open Baladin.
Open Baladin.
In Torino, yeah.
Where it was an awesome night.
And this man here had a couple of beers, I think, before we first met.
I mean, it was a long day.
It was enough beers for him to give me his coat, which is probably now the most awesome coat that I own, and my favorite one as well.
Thanks, dude.
Once I got it dry cleaned, of course. Do you know why Germany has been behind in the sort of craft brewing, the new revolution?
Mm-mm.
I have a theory. This is my theory, and it's a very simple theory. German industrial beer was better than any other country's industrial beer, so it was tolerable. In the United States, our industrial beer was not tolerable. It got so low, we had to do something. And this wasn't really exactly the consciousness of people. They didn't exactly think of it this way, but this is just what naturally happens. And so those green shoots start growing. And there was a need for a revolution. In Germany, we have breweries like yours that have existed for hundreds of years, and all these other choices. Mostly, the German consumer doesn't actually have real choice. They don't live in the middle of Bamberg and being walking distance with all these different wonderful breweries. And I, tell anybody who insists that Germany is a wonderful place for beer. Germany is a wonderful place for beer only if you have vacation time, a rental car, and a gas card. Right? Yeah, then it is truly a wonderful place. But you can't go into one place and find a wonderful selection. You'll find a narrow selection that might have some wonderful choices from time to time. What do you think of that comment?
For me, it's like, what I want to do is like, I want to do, in my brewery, I want to do next year for 500 anniversary. I want to make the craft beer day with all my friends, 12 different beers from different countries, everything, I don't care about the...
Can we make a beer with you?
Yeah, it's like, like this.
No, I mean, can we make a beer with you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be
awesome.
Can
we make it absolutely in total violation of the Reinheitsgebot?
We can do that, no problem. Because you know why? I want to make the beer of the months, so I have 12 breweries, 12 months, and I can show people you must be afraid to drink IPA or drink double IPA.
Don't be afraid. And quote, don't be afraid,
Don't be afraid with that, but
Stefan Michael.
But the point, I think, I want to bring the people closer to different tastes. Like, I mean, this area has for sure awesome beers, insane beers, but I like also to show people sour beer. Like all this, I don't drink sour beer. So you never tried it, so don't say this, So, and I want to take this also to show people different types of beers, different styles, different varieties of hops, of everything, So that people are more open-minded in Franconia for a new beer generation or something like this,
I look forward to help. Craft beer is like rock and roll. Rock and roll, when it first came out, they would smash albums. They would say it's just a fad. It's jungle music. It's devil music. It's whatever, everything, right? Everything. But the people who were into rock and roll were like, no, this is now a new thing. And that's how I felt about craft beer, obviously, right? So. Like, this is a thing, and not only is it a thing, it's going to become a bigger thing, and it's going to become a more nuanced thing. And so in rock and roll, you have everything from country rock to pop rock to 7 major styles of metal music, right? And punk and ska, and these. So similarly, you have the sour beers, you have the traditional Franconian beers, you have the West Coast IPAs, and you have all these different styles, and then you have subsets and subsets and subsets of those styles. It's an incredibly nuanced world that we have here
today. But do you
today.
think you formed with your brand new beer drinkers, or you just took the beer drinkers from other breweries away?
New beer drinkers. Absolutely. Because a lot of people were completely dispassionate about beer. I mean, as you know, in Germany, you've been losing beer drinkers for generations now. And why do you lose beer drinkers? This is very easy. You treat beer like a cheap industrial product. You don't. You don't. Yeah. But Germany, as a whole, kind of does.
It's a huge problem, I think. And it's very hard for me to make the people understand why you're more expensive than the other people. This is always, you have to explain all the time why you do this and this and this.
Well, I have an analogy. Tell me if this one makes any sense.
Yeah.
I say that great German artisanal beer is like classical music.
Yeah.
It's storied, it's historic, it's nuanced, it's well developed, and it's world famous for a very good reason. And it's sophisticated. The beer that most Germans drink is more like music or elevator music. It sounds familiar, but it's really a cheap, computerized, soulless version. It might be Beethoven you're listening to, but it's not the real version. Not like a chamber orchestra is going to give you a real version. But if you're in, a shopping mall, you're hearing a really bad version.
Yeah.
And then in American craft beer, I sometimes feel like we're a little bit more like rock and roll, right? And you can do cheap, crappy versions of rock and roll too in music, right? So if you have the really honest-to-God quality one, like the one you make here, this is something that's worth listening to, and so you're going to enjoy the hell out of it. Or if you want to listen to some heavy metal music, then you might want to have an Arrogant Bastard Ale or something like that, right? But if you want to listen to music, whether it's a rock and roll version or a classical music, it's just the cheap, uninteresting, poor quality version of it. And that's what we try and move people away from. Because I love classical music.
It's the same for me. It's like I want to be on, I want to make the people just feel my product also and respect. It's all about respect, And I think this is the point what we really follow. We are very authentic persons. That's how I met you. Like you're a very authentic person. I mean, you have people, they say this guy is in a different way or in a different atmosphere, whatever, I mean, but you have a lot of people telling you, like, when you do something, and you get famous for doing good stuff, you have a lot of people on the other side, they say, that's what I say, but I think,
For those who say that, come on, hang out, have a beer with me. I might argue with you, I might not always agree with you, but I care passionately like this man does, and like probably a lot of you guys do too. I hope. That's all we want, just care passionately.
And I think that's why, that's what I say, like I told you last night, that's why you find us just once, never twice, And I think we are focused on a good way, and this was a pleasure, actually, really, for me, having you, showing you my world here, my brewery and my area and stuff like this. And I'm looking forward also to do some new projects together, and see what's shaking, We're still young. We can really play a lot of rock and roll together, and I think it's a good choice.
Turn up the amplifiers, put on whatever effects you like.
And then we party our ass off.
That's a good one. The Reinheitsgebot is saying that you can only be a folk band, and you can't plug into an amplifier, and you can't have any pedal effects, and you can't have any keyboards, and you can't. That's an analogy for you.
And I think we are on a good way, and we will see what happens after 2016.
Sounds great.
All right.
All right, brother.
Thanks, dude.